All right. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Legend, and I'm back with another video. New series now. Hold up, wait, stop, wait a minute. One, I'm sorry I didn't upload yesterday, the day before. I was getting ready for AOGS Global Series Year 4, but that's beside the point. But today, sorry I uploaded so late, but your boy was struggling. Tell me why I decided to do this from my PC when I'm still learning how to use it. So yeah, that's why the video is so late. I made the intro from my PC. I made this entire video from the PC. So yeah, without further ado, let's start this intro so we can get into the what if.
Give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
Alright guys, I don't think I have to tell you this, but I'm gonna tell you this anyway. I wrote this, so don't be in the comment section talk about some, bro, let me get the link, cause this is my own work. But let's get it. Chapter 1. Everything is gone. Sakamo. We have gotten a distress call from our ally in the tides. They are being attacked by a mass force of the sand, stone, and cloud. Donzo and the others don't want to assist them, but this is my call. I want you to take a team of your choosing, including yourself, and help them, and be mindful of who you take with you. Sakamo got a serious look, and his eyes hardened. He gave a curt nod, and he left. He already knew who he wanted, and this team that he was going to create would be meant for strictly killing. Sakamo made his way to Jiraiya's residence within 4 shunshin and banged on the door. The door opened, and Sakamo gave no time for greetings at all. Get your 2 teammates. We have a double S rank mission of extreme importance. With that, Sakamo vanished in another Sunshin, making his way to the Hyuga compound. He banged on the door, it opened, and he informed Hayashi of said mission. Hayashi quickly got ready as Sakamo made his way to Minato's home. Knocking on the door, he saw both the blonde and his, well, lover, Kushina. Good. Making my job easier. We all have a double S rank mission. Prepare accordingly. You have 5 minutes to meet me at the gates with Fugaku. Sakamo made his way toward the gates. Minato and Kushina quickly got ready. Countless kunai shuriken were sealed away, exploding notes, and of course Kushina's sword. The two looked at each other and then left to go and get Fugaku. They made it to his house in 30 seconds, knocked on the door, and explained the situation. 2 minutes later, everyone was at the gates, and they all departed as Sakamo briefed them as they moved through the trees. Time skip 3 days later. Everyone was now running on foot with Kushina in the lead. She could hear the faint sounds of battle as they moved forward. Hayashi, said man, nodded as he activated his Byakugan. He paused for a moment before speaking. I count around 60 people. One of them is like a chakra beacon. If I were closer, I'd surely be blinded by the sight. And it looks as though they're fighting an entire village in population size. Meanwhile, Naruto did what he could to assist his clan to a certain extent. They didn't consider him family at all. They despised his heritage, but he still fought with them. Even if he didn't know as much as them, Naruto leaned back at the last second as a kunai passed him. Everything just looked slower to him. He grabbed the kunai from the air and threw it at another shinobi in white as he turned and pointed his arm at a shinobi in crimson armor. A Reckon! A black and brown pointed nose viper leaped from his long sleeves and coiled around the neck of the shinobi before sinking its fangs into the man's neck. In 5 steps, the man would die a painful death. Naruto jumped back as he saw what seemed to be a sharp blue wave slicing through a large group of his help. Naruto himself didn't fully escape the effects of whatever that was. He let out a scream as a deep cut found its way onto his bicep. Uraken made her way back to Naruto as she coiled up above the wound and constricted to stop the bleeding. The cut was deep, so deep that 3 inches of the muscle was sliced through. Naruto looked up and saw another blue wave in the shape of a ragged neck coming at him. He jumped out of the way, and another blue wave came to him, this one in the shape of a pointed mountain but smaller. Naruto flipped midair as the spike-like object nicked his side. He placed his free hand on the object, and that came from the ground, tore off the tip, and ran down the structure as he dodged the kunai that was sent at him. He appeared in front of a sand shinobi and slammed the spike into the man's gut, leaving him with a 6-inch hole in his stomach. Naruto took a knee before he heard a howl out in the distance. He looked up and saw her. Sheva, a large black wolf, leaped from a building and ran through the streets of corpses before lunging and sinking her teeth into the face of a stone kunoichi. Naruto looked before he moved and planted his bare foot into the chest of a Kumo shinobi, snapping 3 of the man's ribs. Naruto ducked, but a fist still connected with his skull, sending his face into the ground. The 14-year-old Naruto groaned before rolling out of the way as a blue stream nearly pierced his skull. Naruto kicked the man's knee out, causing the man to collapse with his leg bending in a way that it wasn't supposed to as he screamed. Naruto grabbed the stray kunai as he slit the man's throat, causing him to bleed out over him. Naruto shoved the man off, looked towards an arrow that was moving slow through the air. He grabbed it mid-flight, easily tracking the trajectory as he threw the arrow with such force that it made its way back to its owner, splitting his head in less than 2 seconds. Naruto stood and grabbed a stray sword lodged in the ground and ran at a group of shinobi. He made fairly quick work of them, only suffering a small cut to his cheek. Naruto panted. He's been running on fumes. He wanted so badly to stop, to lay down, to give up. But even though he was poor, he wanted to live. In the 3 days he's been fighting, he's gotten 1 broken rib, 2 cracked ribs, a stab wound on the right side of his chest, 2 broken fingers, a 3rd-degree burn on his legs, slight frostbite on his knees, slight damage to his right eardrum throwing off his equilibrium, and a sliced bicep. Naruto looked around as his eyes widened. He was the last 4 alive. He looked over at a Uzumaki woman as her skull was pierced by a blue wave. Naruto turned to his right, and Sheva lay on the ground, a puncture wound through her stomach, 7 dead shinobi around her. Naruto looked up as he saw a blade inches from his neck. He also saw another group coming, approaching fast. One looked familiar. Everything then got even slower as the blade stopped just as Naruto's neck, and a chain burst through the man's chest. The rest of the invading shinobi looked at the newcomers and froze. That's the White Fang and the Sani. That's Fugaku of the Blood Arts. That's Konoha Jinchuriki. It's the yellow blur. And the hands of paralysis. The force began to quickly retreat as Naruto looked around. He was the last one. He was all that was left. Naruto fell forward and passed out, all the adrenaline leaving him. Assistant's POV. Fugaku along with the others arrived at the bloodbath. They saw a boy around the age of 14 getting ready to be executed. They were too far to do anything, but it was the man's sword. It was only inches from the boy's neck. Kushina forced her chains from her back as they shot forward. They wouldn't reach the man in time to save the boy, but then the man just froze for some odd reason. Kushina's chain burst through the man's chest as blood dripped from his mouth before her chains were removed, prompting the man to fall over. Fugaku, Minato, and Kushina stopped. They couldn't believe it. They all saw a third Tomo shift into the position as the other two Tomo moved to fit the third. Naruto looked up at them. His eyes flicked to Kushina before he passed out. Sakamu and the three Sani landed seconds later as they looked at the retreating force. Slaughter every single one of them. Fugaku's Sharingan spun to life before it morphed into the Mangekyo Sharingan, Minazuki. All the blood that littered the battlefield rose up before creating a dome around everyone. And with that, the bloodbath began. Limbs were ripped and cut from bodies, heads rolled and hit the ground, more shinobi bled out, and more pretended to be dead without success. The bloodbath did not last long, and soon it ended. Hayashi scanned the battlefield and only saw 3 chakra signatures signaling life. It was the boy, a snake coiled around his arm, and a black wolf. The group walked toward the boy and went to give him medical assistance, but the viper on his arm took a defensive posture, showing its fangs at them. Minato was about to cut the snake from the boy, but Sakamoto stopped him. "Wait, Minato. Look closely." The viper is coiled around his arm to cease the bleeding of an injury, and though you may be fast, this snake would kill you before you even knew what happened. That's a pointed nose viper, or what others call it, the 5-step viper. It got its name due to the potency of its venom. With one bite, even a Kage would be dead within 5 steps. Fugaku, the Uchiha, nodded as he placed the genjutsu on the reptile as they proceeded to give the boy medical attention that he needed to survive before going to transfer him to the village for further medical attention. Normal POV. Naruto groaned before he coughed. He didn't know how much time had passed, but he felt like hell. "Guys, I think he's waking up." Naruto's eyes snapped open. All he saw was black. Was he blind? Why couldn't he see? What happened to his eyes? Naruto felt more people coming, and it was around 8 of them. His fighting reactions took over, and he reached around and grabbed for whatever that he could to use as a weapon. His hand landed on a long piece of cloth. If he had to guess, it was a stray pillowcase. He moved toward the nearest presence, catching the woman off guard as he wrapped the pillowcase around her neck and pressed his back up against the nearest wall. He heard the door open over the sound of the woman choking. Everyone stopped, and Naruto spoke. What did you do to my eyes? Why can't I see?" Everyone stopped at the door, and Minato gained a pissed off look as he watched the boy choke his lover. Hiruzen then spoke, trying to quell the tension. "Calm down, Uzumaki. You are safe. I sent the team to go and help as many of your clansmen as possible. Naruto's ears twitched as his head snapped towards the left. Take another step, and I'll snap this woman like a twig. Minato stopped approaching. He was surprised that the boy was able to pinpoint his position with 100% accuracy. Hiruzen spoke again. That won't be necessary, Uzumaki. We mean you no harm. But the man you just spoke to is the lover of the woman you are currently holding. As the Hokage of this village, I ask you to please release my Jonin. Naruto snarled and tightened his grip on a pillowcase that was choking Kushina, who was now turning blue. Why would I do that? Do you think you coming in here with nice words means anything? What, because you didn't tie me up it means something? Newsflash, buddy, one thing I learned the hard way is that when people want you to lower your guard, they lull you into a false sense of security. Now, tell me, what the hell did you do to my eyes? Why can't I see? Kushina began to struggle less. As her eyes felt heavy, her knees felt weak, and her head felt hazy. Minato grit his teeth as he dashed forward as Naruto turned towards him. Minato was on him in a second, but Naruto was no slouch, nor was he going to back down. Naruto pushed Kushina at Minato as he caught her and body flickered to Hiruzen. He put her down before he went back at Naruto. The young boy leaned back before stepping to the left as Minato punched the wall. Naruto swung his right hand as it collided with Minato's jaw before he heard a popping sound. Then on instinct, Naruto turned and blocked. He then felt a fist implant to his right cheek, but it barely had an effect on him. He then gasped as he felt his still recovering ribs. A fist had hit them. Naruto unknowingly released a weird power. His chakra boiled out of him in a deep purple color as it evaporated off of him in a black mist. Hiruzen's POV. I prevented everyone with me from intervening in the Uzumaki boy and Minato's fight. The Uzumaki boy was skilled, judging by how he was fighting against Minato. I'd say the boy was a censor. I was analyzing the entire fight, a pissed off Minato, and a still recovering Uzumaki. I watched as Minato used a cheap shot and struck the boy in his still fragile ribs before the boy began to release a familiar but unknown power. He released that chakra, whatever it was a deep purple, and judging by how it began to just steam off of his body into a black color, I'd say the chakra was high in temperature. I watched as the chakra began to burn away at the bandages that covered his eyes from the strain of his last battle. Once the bandages burned off, it revealed a three-tomo Sharingan. The sight caught me by surprise, but I didn't let it show. I watched as Minato formed a Rasengan, and the boy unknowingly began to manipulate this unknown chakra. It began to swirl around his body. I quickly went through hand signs. As the two men lunged at each other, a barrier erupted in between the two before they collided. I then flashed behind Naruto and slammed a chakra suppressor onto his back. As this weird chakra faded away, normal POV, Naruto fell to his knees. Feeling the strange energy leave him so suddenly, Naruto looked around. I can see. Everyone in the room sweat dropped at the stupidity of the boy. He then looked over at the others as he saw his crush since the age of 5, holding her neck with a purple bruise. His eyes widen. Kushina-chan, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was you. I'm sorry for hurting you. It was just defensive instinct. Please forgive me, Kushina-chan. Kushina looked at Naruto, who was bowing with his head pressed to the floor. If Kushina was being honest, she found Naruto's actions cute, but she really didn't care for him. Unlike the other people from her clan who knew what happened within their family, his family to be exact, she didn't really hate or despise Naruto. She also wouldn't say that she liked him. She was just indifferent to him. Minato grew a tick mark on his head as he ran over and punched Naruto in the back of his head. Drop the suffix from her name. She's my woman, not yours. Naruto rubbed the back of his head as anime tears ran down his face. Way to crush a guy's dreams. I'm destined to die alone. Naruto then remembered he was missing his companions. In an instant, he appeared in front of Hiruzen, grabbing onto his collar of his robes with a serious yet comical look. Where are they? Where are Raken and Sheva? Hiruzen gave a awkward laugh before getting Naruto off of him. Orochimaru then spoke. I'm guessing you're talking about the snake and wolf that we found with you. The serpent is safe in my home. If you would like, I could take you to retrieve her. But as for the mutt, she is being held in the Inuzaka compound. Naruto latched onto the hand of Orochimaru. Take me to her now. Everyone looked at the two before Sarutobi interrupted. Wait just a second. We still have questions we need you to answer. Naruto looked annoyed as he glared at the man. However, some of the people found Naruto's mood changes funny. 1 second he was depressed, then he's worried, then hopeful, to happy, to annoyed. First, what everyone here would like to know is, how do you have the Sharingan? Fugaku especially wanted to know. Naruto just looked at Sarutobi with a blank look. Everyone waited for an answer, but Naruto just looked at them. What exactly is this Sharingan thingy you say I have? Everyone in the room looked at each other, trying to see if the boy was serious. Fugaku stepped forward and sent chakra to his eyes. This is the Sharingan, the ultimate dojutsu possessed by most Uchiha clan members. Judging that you don't know what the Sharingan is, I'll explain the base of its abilities. For starters, it allows you to see chakra and chakra-based techniques as colors. It allows a better visual perception of everything around you, meaning it seems as though things are slower than they truly are. It also allows you to place visual illusions onto a living being. Naruto's eyes widened. I heard that name before. My mom had that name, Uchiha. Sarutobi nodded. He was actually getting answers from the boy. Do you know the name of your mother, Uzumaki-kun? Naruto looked down. He didn't answer. Soon, everyone heard the boy sniffling as he looked up at them with tears in his eyes. In a very loud and boisterous voice, he said, like I could ever forget my mom. She was the best and strongest mom ever. Her name was Naori Uchiha Uzumaki. And because she risked her life for me, I'm here keeping her memories alive. Then Fugaku came and asked a rather inappropriate question. How did she die? What caused her to lose her life. Naruto went quiet. He clenched his fist and subconsciously he activated his Sharingan. The only female in the room glared at Fugaku. Now, why would you ask that? He's obviously passionate about the subject. As you can tell, he never got time to grieve properly. Kushina walked up to Naruto, who was fighting back his tears, and hugged him. She could feel him shaking, most likely out of rage. I never got to say goodbye. I never got to avenge her. I never got to tell her how much I loved and appreciate her before she died. Naruto then began to tell them all what happened. Flashback. 8 years ago, Naori was asleep while spooning a 6-year-old Naruto. It was a long day for her. Actually, the entire week was long for her. She had to go to 3 different meetings with the Lord and Lady of Uzoshiagagur. Why? Because they didn't want her or her son there. They already sent people to deal with her lover, Naruto's father. And she was able to save him once at the cost of her left eye, but he wasn't so lucky the second time around. That happened a year ago. They held off on sending people for her and her child simply because they didn't have enough information on her abilities. All of this wouldn't even be a problem if she and her lover hadn't been stupid and did what they did. But at that time, it was the fastest way to preserve her baby's life. Yes, there were other ways, but the others were not guaranteed. But what they chose to do was, to a certain extent, considered a crime. The Lord and Lady were already pissed that their right-hand man chose to sleep and start a family with her. But what they did to help their son is what tainted their relationship and ruined it to the point of no return. There was then the sound of leaves lightly crunching by her window. She slowly opened her eyes, taking in the sound of everything. The sound was soft, so she closed her eyes, assuming that it was some animal. Then she heard a twig snap. It wasn't the sound of the twig that alerted her. It was the lack of sound that came after. She quickly sat up. She could feel the chakra of 3 shinobi, one being around Kage level, and another at Anbu level. She could feel another one on a nearby roof, but he or she was only tuning level, so she assumed that that one was someone's child or something. She shook Naruto, trying to wake him, but then there was a loud boom. It was an explosion. They had just blew up their home, with her and her son still inside. She activated her Susanoo ribcage to block the falling debris. Once everything settled, she released her blue ribcage and looked at the scared Naruto. She went to pick him up and move him to a safe spot, but an arrow pierced through her back as it tore through her heart. She fell over as her Mangekyo Sharingan spun rapidly before her body vanished, and she appeared behind the Chunin who shot the arrow. She shot her hand forward as it was covered in wind as it burst through his chest. She then heard her baby boy scream for her as she used her ears to pinpoint his exact location as she body flickered to him. She could hear the footsteps of approaching shinobi, and she threw a volley of shuriken at them. Said man jumped back before chuckling. How many lives do you have? We killed you once, but yet here you are. Naori said nothing as she moved. Her speed was immense, but she was at a huge disadvantage. She then felt the ground shift underneath her feet, and on instinct, she jumped back. I must say, when blinded, you're as agile as ever. Naori then pulled 4 kunai from her robes. Faster than a blink of an eye, both men jumped back, but one suffered an injury that would change the tides of the battle. Ozai, you okay? Ozai was gasping, trying not to scream. He was pierced through his calf, and he wasn't able to stand. Genji, this bitch tore through my calf. Genji said nothing, as he flung a kunai at his partner, killing him instantly. You are a piece of shit. You killed him for what reason? Genji laughed. He was injured. He would become a burden, so I got rid of him. I act as the lord and lady's bodyguard and right hand, so making choices like this comes easy. Now retossed some kunai at him, but he just bat them away. It looks as though they will be losing 2 things then. Their bodyguard and their lives. Naori went through hand signs before she finished with the tiger hand sign. Fire style, Phoenix flower jutsu. Genji had to dodge multiple fireballs. He then saw a purple blur from the corner of his eye, and he smirked. He quickly turned and pulled a dagger from his sleeve. Without her eyes, Naori had to rely on her sense of smell, hearing, and touch. She heard him turn around, but she did not hear him pull a weapon. Naori hissed as she was cut across the face. If she had been more reckless, she would have lost her life. She jumped back and spewed water at him. As he dodged and lunged at her, he shoved a dagger into her chest as she stood there, her milky eyes wide as she gasped for breath. To think that my time was wasted to kill you in this state. I always knew you were nothing without your eyes. Naori grabbed the man's wrist tight as she spoke. I may be weaker without my eyes. That is a fact, but against someone as complacent as you, my eyes are just, they would just be overkill. A waste of chakra. They aren't needed to kill you. She then exploded in a current of lightning, physically shocking him. Naori burst from the ground, kicking him in the face. He flew several feet before crashing into some debris. Naori rushed him while crossing her fingers as 3 clones poofed next to her. They all went through hand signs and called out in unison, Fire style, Phoenix flower jutsu. Genji dodged, and a real Uchiha appeared behind him. Water style, water dragon missile. Genji dodged with a shunshin. Even without your eyes, you are arrogant. You didn't even notice that you were fighting a clone the entire time. Genji shoved his hand through her back as it came through her stomach, causing the woman to cough blood. I must admit, if I were a normal Kunoichi, you would be a threat. But like you said before, this entire time, you didn't realize that you were indeed fighting a clone. Naori dissolved into blood as Genji turned with wide eyes. He then spit blood as a piece of wood was stabbed through his neck. If he were a normal shinobi and not an Uzumaki, he would have died instantly, but he used the last of his strength to stab Naori in her ribs, puncturing her lung, causing her to gasp for air. She was having a hard time breathing and the pain was immense. She released a wooden shank as Genji fell back bleeding out. Naori neared over as tears stung her eyes. She tried to keep them in, but it was useless. She sobbed and gasped for air as she ripped the dagger out of her body as blood flowed from the wound. She stood weakly and made her way to her boy. She clumsily moved the debris as Naruto came out from under all of it and hugged his mother. She hissed at the contact, but Naruto didn't seem to notice. "I'll never let anyone hurt you because you are my son and I love you. The only way for someone to get to you is to go through me," stated Naori in a wheeze. The two sat there as the adrenaline slowly left the two at the end. In the flashback, Naruto looked up at all the people around him, tears staining majority of his eyes in the room, all except for Orochimaru, Fugaku, Sakuma, and Hayashi. When I woke up the next morning, she wouldn't wake up. She didn't move. She gave zero reaction. Her body was cold as ice, and there was no breath coming from her. She was dead. That was the day I lost everything. And that's the day that I swore I'd have my revenge. A tear fell from his eyes as he breathed. But I guess someone else beat me to it. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, I'm out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.